so let's get started. So first of all, I've taped a silicone mat onto a piece of grid paper. You can see I've been stamping here, and I've just put a little bit of frog tape on it to hold it in place so that it doesn't slide around. But I've used the lines on the grid paper just to make sure that it's level, although I've just noticed I've possibly not quite got it there. So make sure it's level. The tape's holding it in place, and what I'm going to do is take a black Memento ink pad, and I've got a stamp from the stamp set Trucking Along, which is an online exclusive from Stampin' Up, which at the time of recording I believe is available. So we're just going to stamp, and what I'm going to use is this line on the grid paper that you can see underneath the silicone mat, and I'm just going to stamp it. And for those of you that don't know what mirror stamping is, it's so that I can reverse the image so that I can have two trucks facing each other. Okay, so they're at the same place. So I've got my piece of card, and I'm actually going for a larger piece than I really need, just so that I can trim it afterwards when I want to. So I'm going to put that on there and then gently just rub that off. So that's picking up the reverse image. You have to hold it firm, don't let it slide or anything. And then we're just going to lift it up, make sure we've picked up. We have. So we've got the image there. That then allows you to ink your stamp again. And this time I'm going to use the line again. So make it look as though the wheels are lined up with that central line. Then I can stamp the image again along that line, and you can put them as close or as far apart as you want. I'm doing it by eye. But we've got two tracks. Now the first one is not quite as bold in its image, but that's not a problem, because if we colour it, it doesn't really show that much. And also what you can do is use a black journaling pen to just highlight these lines on this particular image if you choose to. So I'm going to use Stampin' Up! Blends, which are alcohol markers, to colour it in. I've got light and dark Azure Afternoon. I've got light and dark Seaside Spray, which is a new colour that's coming next month. And I've got light and dark grey granite for a little bit of addition on the wheels to do the tyres. And then I've got a colour lifter, so that if I make any mistakes I can hopefully rectify them, and I can also add a bit of light and shade by taking some of the depth of colour off some places. So let's get going. I'll just very quickly colour this in. I'm going to start with the dark to put it around the sort of shadow areas where it might be a bit darker under these lines, perhaps around the window. If you colour, I'm using that, you get two ends on these markers, so you get this brush end which is quite soft, so you need to be careful. You don't, and it literally is like using a little brush, so you just want to be gentle with it. A bit round there, we'll have a bit in here, I think, around the wheel arch, and then perhaps a little bit more there, a little bit in the, so you can see I'm not being ever so precise. And then if we come on to this one as well, similar sort of thing around the lines. Just colour it around. You've also got a bullet end, so you can be a bit more cautious with that. But this is quite quick for adding colour, which is what you want down here. So I've got that. There we go. Oh, perhaps just a bit more. I shouldn't really come back to this one. So I'm sort of letting the alcohol from it evaporate, and then I can come in with the light and start, if we start over here where I haven't already done a bit, just gently brush around it, and I find in circles, because you go over the dark, you blend it so it looks a bit smoother, and then just be gentle. I'm sure there are lots of people that are more expert at colouring than I am, but it's always really therapeutic, don't you think, when you do colouring? So we're whizzing around this quite quickly. There we go. Do the same here. And you can see it, oops, a little bit of a smidge there. You can see it blending in. There we go. Make sure I don't colour the window on the back of the truck. There we go around there. And it will bleed a little bit, so if you just go towards the ends, you can let it come in. And then if you want to lighten some areas, you can use the colour lifter. I'm going to use the bullet end that I mentioned, just so that I can get it a little bit more defined. A bit on the front and on the bonnet, maybe a little bit on the back, and we think the light might be. You don't want to go over it too much, just a little bit, and let it lift and see how you go on. Now I've gone over the wheel a little bit here, so, oh no I haven't actually, it's just, we'll blend that a little bit better. Okay, and if we come with I'm going to use the Seaside Spray to add a little bit to the centre of the wheels, just for a bit more colour, because I'm going to bring that in. I've used that light and then I'll just put it in, but I'm going to bring in some more of this colour when I actually add my image to my card base. So if we just finish those off there, and then we'll use the dark grey garnet, and again the bullet, because I want a little bit more control in this smaller area. Just to add some dark there, maybe come a bit further with this one. Go back to the beginning, and again use the bullet just to overlap and blend those a little bit. So go there. You can see I've overlapped a little bit there, which some people might not worry about, but if it does bother you, you can just gently go with the colour lifter. Do it just a bit and see how it goes. If it takes all the colour off, that's great. If not, you can go back and have another little go. So I might just push that back under there a little bit as well. And under here. Okay. So there's our image. Now you can see that the black on this one is actually showing up quite well where I've coloured over it. But if you wanted it to be a bit bolder, perhaps on the back here, you could just gently use a marker just to add a bit more detail if it hasn't transferred as well as you might have liked. But obviously you need quite a steady hand. But I don't think you need to worry too much. So we've got both of them. Now, what I'm thinking of doing is then adding a sentiment, and I've got a save the date because I thought this would be quite nice for saving the date for a birthday party or maybe a wedding. This is from the Sweetly Scripted stamp set, which again is another online exclusive. Now, just because it's online doesn't mean to say you have to shop online. You can still buy it through your demonstrator. So if you're in the UK and don't have a demonstrator, I'd love for you to find me, Zoe Tant, on the stampinup.uk website. and you can find this stamp set. I'm going to use the black again. So, and now I'm going to cut this down. So actually what I'll do first of all is I get my trimmer and move these pens out of the way. And I want this to fit onto a piece of card that I've already pre-cut. And this is 13.1 centimetres, which is approximately 5 1/8 by 8.5 centimetres, 8.78. So I want this to be 12.8. So I'm going to take that and make sure that I can cut that. So I'm just making it a bit shorter. And then I also want it to be a little bit narrower. So I'm going to, let's see, I think I'll take it off the bottom. I want this to be at 8.8. So I'll take that off the bottom, like so. Let's just check we've got it to fit. Ooh, I think I've not quite gone far enough. So we'll take just a smidge off the top. So, and if we take smidges, we don't really need to worry too much about being too precise. She says, having quoted 0.3 and 2 millimetres. We're about there. Maybe not quite. A little bit more. This is the problem where you go too far. So how are we doing? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so move the trimmer again. So I want to add the sentiment. Now, if I put that sentiment on there, as you can see, it goes off both ends. So if I want to have it in there, then what I need to do is ink it, but stop before the end so that it stays on my piece of card. So if I bring this in, I can judge from there. Maybe go a little bit further. I think we're about there. And we can, hopefully this is the test. Yep, we're fine. We've got our sentiment, save the date, and I've also used a little heart, which I've taken from Love This Moment, which is a lovely set for scrapbooking, because you've got all these different bits, little words that are great for scrapbooking. You've got these lines and smile and happy and a little floral bit, but you've got a camera and various other little embellishments that you could stamp on, including this little heart. So because I've put save the date, I'm just going to put a little heart in the middle there. So the two trucks are showing affection. So I'm just, again, going to bring back the Summer Splash and add the, I think I'm going to go all light first of all. Let that rest a minute. And then very carefully with the brush end, add a little bit of dark, just for a bit of texture, and we'll just blend that in. Maybe lift a little bit as well, just so. There we go. So we've got that, and that can then sit on my piece of Azure Afternoon blue cardstock. And then I've got an same blue card base, but on it, which on its own is fine. And if you're doing save the date cards and you want to churn out several, then you might want to just keep it that simple. But I thought we might add a little bit of designer series paper in Summer Splash to bring out those two bits and add that on there. We could either have it central or we could move it over here a little bit, and we might just put a little pennant snip in there. But also I think we could do with a little bit of detailing in here, but I want it to be quick and easy. So I'm going to use my trimmer but I'm going to make sure that my cutting blade is well out of the way. I'm going to flip this over, and the beauty of using the alcohol markers is that it seeps through the card, but of course that's not going to be seen. So I can see where the top of my image is and look where I want to put it. So if I put this on 2.5 centimetres over here, which is approximately an inch, I can put in a score line, but then I can move it back about 1/4 inch, 1/2 centimetre, do another one, and then I could probably move it back another 1/4 inch, 1/2 centimetre. And I've added a little bit of detail without too much effort to my card. You can just see that. Okay. Then it's a question of putting it all together. So, first of all, I said about penanting the back of this. So I just grab my scissors, which I've now hidden. Here we go. So the easiest way to pennant is if you cut up the middle of your piece of card or DSP as I'm using, and then come in from the outside, from the bottom corners, and do this. I'm just hoping that I haven't gone too far. I'm just doing this all by eye, really. So let's have a look how that's going. We said we put that on there, and yeah, it's not too bad. So I might just take a little bit more. So I'm going to come up a little bit. But what I might do is just snip that a little bit further, so that I've got a central and coordinating point to go to. So hopefully that's it. That's perfect. So I'm going to add that onto my card. Nice thing, again, you've got the two sides of the DSP, so if you wanted to make it a little bit lighter, then you could glue the other side, obviously, and reverse it. If you just put a little bit of glue, we turn it over, pop that on there. We just have to watch that's oozed out a little bit, but I can clean that off with an adhesive remover when I'm finished. Then I think we'll stick this onto the card. And that's just going to go on there. I love this blue, it's just so pretty. There we go. And then if I use some dimensionals, we can raise this up a little bit. If we put one in each corner. If you come in a little bit from the edge, it just gives it a bit more lift, rather than it winging on about in the outside. And then if I use my picker tool, this makes it really easy to pull off your backings. And the nice thing is it gathers them all up together so that you can pop them into a paper bin, except that one doesn't want to come off, without them going everywhere, or without them going on the floor and the dog picks them up and takes them throughout your house. So if we take that over a little bit, we want a little bit popping out the side here for contrast. And then we've got this. Ooh, we need to make sure it's straight. That's great. So if I wanted to, I could add some gems or whatever. If I just show you these that I've done previously. So I've got this one, which is another new in colour. This is Petunia Pop, along with Peach Pie I've used as a coordinating product. And then here, and you just need to be careful with your silicone mat. I've still got ink on there. And then with this one, I've used the Summer Splash with Petunia Pop, DSP and ink and embellishments. I've used a couple of offcuts to make banners. Again, the scoreboard or your trimmer scoring tool to just add some texture. And then on this one, because it's birthday, it's got little gifts in and flowers. Now, obviously, I could do the same reverse process with this, but trying to line them up into the back of the truck would be much harder. So although the trucks are mirror imaged to face each other, their contents aren't, and it's just a cheat's way of getting around a difficult problem. But as you can see, they make really nice cards, and it's a lovely set. So I do hope you'll join us on the Totally Techniques blog hop. And if you like any of the products in my video, then as I said before, you can visit my shop at stampinup.com, stampinup.uk, and or you can go to zoetant.stampinup.net, where you'll be able to find all of these things. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.